Greetings and welcome to this HHS training video on effective communication. Throughout this video, you will learn the importance of verbal and nonverbal communication, how to practice effective listening skills, and how to communicate in clear, respectful, and non-judgmental ways. Communicating is something that we all do every day. It's such a big part of our lives that we do it without thinking, almost like breathing. We talk to our family, friends, and coworkers all the time without much thought about how to do it. But even though we have been communicating all of our lives, it can still take practice and dedication to become an effective communicator. Being an effective communicator involves listening as well as talking. That sounds simple enough, but being a good listener actually takes some practice. You may have conversations with your coworkers and supervisors all day long, but are you really listening to what they're saying? Here's a clue. If you're thinking ahead to what you need to do next or what's for dinner, then you're not really listening. Choosing the right words and listening with your mind rather than just your ears are skills that we can all work on that will make us better communicators. We all have experienced situations where miscommunication has led to disagreements and confusion. To avoid these kinds of situations, we can put into action a few easy but important practices into our daily actions. Before we move on to tips for effective communication, let's first talk about what communication is and why it's important. While we typically think of communication just as talking, communication happens both verbally and non-verbally, and both types are equally important. Communication can be done by using words, sounds, signs, or behaviors to exchange information or express ideas, thoughts, and feelings. That means that every time you interact with another person, whether you speak to them, use body language, or signs, it's all a form of communication. Verbal communication includes the words you write or say to someone in different settings, such as face-to-face, on-phone conversations, in written notes or letters, on social media, or via text message. Nonverbal communication includes all the other ways we communicate that don't involve words, such as our tone of voice, body language, meaning your posture or gestures you make, eye contact, and facial expressions. Nonverbal communication can sometimes even be more powerful than words. Before we talk about things we can do to be successful communicators, it's important to remember HHS's values. Our values state that we are honest, problem solvers, quality-driven, team-oriented, proactive, adaptive, dedicated, balanced, humble, and diverse. These values should act as a guide for all our workplace actions and interactions. By keeping these values in mind, you will ensure that you are acting in the best interest of HHS, our team, and our customers, and that you are setting yourself up for positive and effective communication. Applying our values to all of your workplace communication will ensure that those you communicate with feel respected and heard. So now that we've covered the basics of what communication is, let's talk about ways we can communicate more effectively. These are 3 simple principles that you can add into your work life that will make you a more effective communicator. We call them the 3 C's: be consistent, be clear, and be courteous. Let's look more at what each of those mean. Be consistent. It can be very frustrating when someone says one thing one day and something different the next. Over time, inconsistency in the messages you're sending leads people to not trust what you have to say. So to be a strong communicator and someone that others can rely on, you have to be consistent in the messages you share with others. When you want to be heard, make sure that the messages you're sending are clear, understandable, and straightforward. Some people try to impress others with big words or complicated vocabulary, but the question to ask yourself is, do I want to impress or do I want to be heard and understood? If your goal is to be heard, stick with clear messages that leaves no one guessing. Organize your thoughts and make sure you have a clear idea of what you want to say before you begin speaking. Keep your message simple, be specific, and get straight to the point. If you need to show what you mean, feel free to do so, and if you feel you need to repeat your message for better understanding, then do that as well. Be courteous. Courtesy communicates respect. When someone feels respected, they're more likely to be open to hearing your message. Starting off a conversation with a complaint or insult, or using body language that looks rude or insulting, will immediately make people defensive. If your goal is to be heard, use words like please and thank you. Maintain a positive tone of voice, and make sure that your body language looks open and positive. Being aware of your body language and other nonverbal communication and how you are presenting yourself can go a long way in improving your communication skills. Remember to think about how your body language may affect your message. Are your arms crossed? Are you frowning or looking upset? Are you sighing or yawning? Are you looking at your phone instead of the person? Simply looking directly at the person you're speaking with and using body language that shows that you are engaged and interested can greatly improve your chances of getting your message across or making the other person feel heard. Another part of being courteous is being a good listener. Effective listening means more than just keeping quiet while another person finishes their sentence. Listening should be active, which means that you as the listener should focus on the speaker and their message. You can show that you are listening by keeping eye contact with the other person and nodding or saying yes to confirm you've heard and understand them. Allow the other person to fully communicate their point by staying silent and waiting until they finish their thought before you speak. Ask related questions and repeat their thoughts back to them to ensure you understand each other. And most importantly, keep an open mind while you listen. If you don't agree, try to consider their point of view before sharing your own ideas or opinion. All of your coworkers have different personalities, backgrounds, ideas, and opinions, all of which can make successful communication a challenge. It is important to respect the different views of the people around you, and if they aren't going your way, find a compromise between your ideas or simply learn to agree to disagree. Remember that you do not have to like someone or agree with their opinions in order to effectively communicate with them. Regardless of your personal feelings or past history with someone, do not hold judgment against them, and instead listen to their ideas and simply focus on the conversation at hand. We don't have to like everyone we work with, but we do have to respect them. Let's recap. Positive working relationships are built on effective communication. By adding the 3 C's, be consistent, be clear, and be courteous, and keeping HHS's values in mind, you can greatly improve your workplace communication skills. When communicating with someone on your team, be sure to think about your message, delivery, timing, and audience. Pay attention to nonverbal communication, like body language, as well as what is said. And most importantly, to be an effective communicator, you must both speak and listen. Remember, it goes both ways.